Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a sci-fi movie review and I'll be having a look at The Colony. So this is a post-apocalyptic story and it stars Bill Paxton, Lawrence Fishburne and Kevin Zegers. So the world here has been devastated by some ecological disaster and ultimately the world is covered in snow and ice and most of humanity has been wiped out save for small bunches of colonies that are kind of buried underground in some underground complexes that have been sort of reformatted to sort of support some sort of life, and then they sort of grow a small amount of food and whatnot and try to survive on what meagre rations they have. On top of that, you've got diseases rife and ultimately sort of killing off the populace within them, and supplies are running low. Now, one of these colonies gets a distress call from its neighbouring colony, and then kind of the radio goes dead. So they send a sort of small search party out to sort of see what's going on, and then they find, to their horror, not only have they got to face all these other situations, there's now this sort of bunch of roving, cannibalistic type of people, and the hunt goes on as these cannibals, these sort of feral band of like savages, ultimately sort of try and sort of attack the main complex. So that's ultimately the kind of plot in a nutshell here. Now, it's a pretty decent film, I have to say. I'm not quite sure what the budget is of this, but it looks pretty decent, and I think some of the effects are really stunningly well realised, I have to say. We see a lot of the cityscapes that are kind of half buried in snow and kind of dilapidated, and the cast overall is pretty decent here. You've obviously got Bill Paxton and Lawrence Fishburne sort of leading the cast here, but Kevin Zegers, Sam, is the main protagonist here. Now, I've got to say, if I have to pick a hole in this film, that it is a little bit predictable, and it's maybe not the most original film in regards to the actual story of what you can expect to see here. The camera work maybe sometimes in the fight scenes was a little bit sort of shaky as well, but they're kind of really sort of small issues, really. One of the things I have read before I actually watched this film and sort of had a look at what other people's views were. A lot of people were complaining about the ending of this film. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is. I didn't think the ending was a particularly bad ending. It pretty much sums up the actual and concludes the actual story that we're seeing on the screen here. It does leave it slightly open-ended, but I didn't think it was such a big deal. So if you kind of haven't seen this film and you're worried about it's going to have some rubbish ending, it doesn't. So don't worry, go check it out. It was an interesting film, so there's lots of action in it. It is fairly predictable, and you've got stuff like obviously the main guys, obviously the best looking guy. The bad guys, obviously this big bald guy, and you know he's bad because he's bald. So there are some cliches, and there's to say that maybe the originality isn't there, but it's an interesting film. It's got a great atmosphere. It kind of reminds me of 30 Days of Night, if anything. And as I say, the actual savagery of what's on display sometimes, it's going to make you think of this. Obviously, it has got a sort of an ecological message in with it, because ultimately it's saying this is ultimately the world that we can live on if obviously we don't sort of pull our resources and kind of get our shit together, basically. So I have to say I really enjoyed it. And there's obviously a lower budget film, so for the budget that they've got, I think they did a pretty decent job in regards to world building and effects and stuff. Not the most original film, but hey, if you're interested in maybe your sci-fi / horror film, I suggest go checking this one out. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think? Leave me a comment. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.